learn about OOPS programming in Python. So what is it OOPS? OOPS is basically object-oriented programming, and it is used for creating objects and classes, and it helps your Python codes more reliable. So let's start with our first example. So let's create a one program. Uh, let's say create one program in which we are going to take name of someone. Let's say you are taking name, okay, and then age, and then marks. Okay, so in this way you have created. Now you want to store this for one student. So we have covered up one student. One student. Now after this we need for second student. So you can use it like this. Second student, name 1, age 1. Basically this one is showing students. And after this you can use name 2. Let's say age 2. 2 is basically second student. Here we can write, let's say age is 21, and then marks 2 equals to randomly I'm giving marks here, and then after this 3 is students. Name 3 equals to, so after this we are going for age 3. Let's say is again is 20 and is marks 3 equals to 55. So we have created this for 3 students, but let's suppose if you want for 1000 students. For this purpose you need to create 1000 of variables and 1000 of and number of data and number of times you want those variables. So basically this one is not like reliable that much, as you can see we need to create multiple variables, and you may then replace names some like so, and it is not going to be structured. So this is basically procedural programming. So you can see this is basically procedural programming. What we have learned till yet, it is procedural programming, and now we are going to learn about OOPS. So basically, in order to encounter these problems, just like we have creating multiple times names, multiple variables, we are going to use OOPS. So OOPS is like structured database, like some. So here you can see one sample. Just I am going to create like this class student, and it has some data like a student name, and then a student age, and a student. This is just a pseudo code, not a correct code. So basically I'm just telling what that I have created a structure using keyword class. So for oops we have keyword name class we are going to use for Python. So oops is basically going to make your code more structured. So just like we have multiple students, and multiple students may have multiple data. Let's say we have only graded up to marks. Let's suppose if someone needs more numbers, just like marks of English, marks of Hindi, and else marks, and percentage of previous class. So we are going to again add more variables. But in oops, what you're going to do in oops, we can simply do it like student, and then English marks student, let's say percentage. So in this way oops is going to work, and I will make sure this is not a correct code. This is just a pseudo code I am telling you. So in this way you can create your object-oriented programming for oops. Basically, this is a concept that oops. This is why oops is very useful for your structuring, making your code more structured. Okay, so next thing. So basically, this is also one more thing that it is used for organizing your code. Just like we have learned that you can directly add one variable and it is going to add for every one. And I'm also going to show example afterward. So let's dive into first main topic, which is class. So basically, let's understand a class. I have just showed that class is a keyword, but before this, what is class actually? And basically, class is a blueprint of anything. Just like I've created like this. So you can see this is a blueprint of a student, and a student has a blueprint like name, age, and you may have seen the blueprint of house. It has some, it has all of the object which is necessary, but it is not the actual house. And using that blueprint, you can create multiple house and may differ some, and as per your need, you can adjust your furnitures inside the house. In the same way, this that blueprint of house is here as a student, and your furnitures, how you arranged, are like this datas of each and every one. So it's like object. Okay, so let's try our first code. So yeah, for simple, you can create it like this, and make sure that class name, this is class name basically, and this is class keyword for Python, and this is called class. Okay, so and make sure that class keyword class name should be in just like this way. First letter should be capital, and it's just a sign connection, not necessary, but it is used most of the days, most of places. So if you should also use it. And I'm just going to use fast because I'm not going to fill up everything. But what we need to make inside this is name, age, marks, and later we are going to add more things. So in this way you can create a first class. Okay, now after this, let's try this in terminal directly. In your terminal, just type Python and start, and we are going to for first one, which is class student, and pass. So just pass means we are nothing going to enter. So let's try this. If you even try dir on the student, so we are getting most of things, but we are going to cover this at the end. We are going to cover only some of them, like they are this one. This in this lecture we are going to only cover this in it. Okay, now let's go with the next one, which is objects. So we have successfully created our first class in Python. Now let's go for next. So how to create objects? So basically object means data. Basically you want to basically what data you want to pass for your class. Just like I told you, I am going to show just like we have one blueprint for house, and you can create multiple blueprints, multiple houses from that. So that multiple houses are basically objects. So here is that first. I am going to create first object. So in this way, you can simply create your first object. And if you even if you try to type s1, you can see class main dot student. So it is saying that underscore main basically means the same file. So in this file, the class is created, and this file we are going to use. We are using, therefore it is showing underscore main underscore, and dot student is class name, which is student. So in this way, you can use this object. And let's say even for different student, we are going to use another variable, another object, and one more thing. S1 is not S2. You can see it is saying false, and even if you want to check ID of the both of them, you can check ID. So you can see basically these two have different ID. Okay, now next one. Uh, Next one we have creating objects we have done, creating class we have done. Okay. So we are just like here empty student. Now let's create something in it. And even if you want to check ID of student, you can see we have also ID of class student. Now let's create this class. And first one we are going to learn constructor. So basically what is constructor? Constructor is just like taking a first input from user, or you can say basically initializing your class or object. I mean object. So for constructor you are going to write like the, so for constructor the one more thing, class has different methods and attributes, and okay, I will call it like this now after this constructor. Okay, so this init, so this is constructor basically. Okay, print student object constructed. So in this way you can create your own object. So okay, now let's try s1. S1 equals to students. If I run this, so what will happen? The constructor is like whenever I create object, this function is going to be executed. So class has different objects and variables. So this is our first object, first function, which is basically constructor. So this function, instead of function, it will be more better to tell method. So let's first run this. You can see student object constructed. Now if I do same for s2, and even if we check, so basically we have created new class, and also s1 is still not s2 because both are different variables. So it's not like they both are returning same thing. So they both are same. So they are both are different. Okay. So next one is our next topic is we have self keywords. Okay. So what is self keyword here? Here you can see self. What is self? This self basically means you have to write basically like self dot, I mean student dot, yeah. So instead of writing it like student like so as soon as you write this like s3 is equals to student, internally Python is going to do like student dot init s3 like this. So in this way Python is going to execute. So what is happening here, instead of using s3 inside this function like thing which is class, basically here blueprint we have, Python directly allows self to be directly assigned. For example, let me to again create class and show one more example. So this is self basically own object, and then after that we have name. Now we're going to use self dot name. So you can see equals to name. So self dot name is like we are giving this self dot name here. This name is not same as this name. So self dot name is a name variable defined for this object. So basically we are now going to define s3 name of s3, and it is in separate way. So it's not like we are writing s2 equals to something, not like name equals to like same that. So basically if you want to give name for s3, give a name for s3, you are like going to assign its name, and this name is the name which you are going to pass while creating a function. So this name is equals to this name. They both are the same. So no, make sure not to confuse this dot name with this one name. Okay, now let's run this. If I run s for s1 dot s1 equals to student Rahul. So one more thing, Python internally does like is student dot underscore init underscore s1. Now using this you can match that s1 is at the position of self and Rahul is at the position of thing. So basically it is dicto same like function but is not a function. You can say it is a method is going to be used for a constructor. Now one more thing, if you want to access s1.name, so you can see that we are getting name. So therefore oops is very important because it's going to a structure. We don't define name here. Here you can see that it is showing error, but s1 has a name which is name is Rahul, and internally Python does it like a student. Actually it directly writes this. So in this way you can create this, and after this we have instant variables. Okay, so we have methods and attributes. So now we have attributes also for our Python. So what are attributes? Attributes basically just like we have variables in procedural programming, we have attributes in object oriented programming. Okay, so let's try one example. Class student, and let's say we are going to create only for, actually I already showed an example of attribute earlier, but I am recreating it. Self name and then class is something. Okay, class is keyword. Let's do CRA. It's not a typo. Basically class is keyword, so I'm not going to use class. And after this we are going to use cell.name equals to name, cell.class. Okay, let's make this as capital C because class capital C is not defined. Capital C class is not defined. So we are going to use it like this. Now if I create it like s1 is equals to a student Rahul, and then second argument which are going to pass is class. Basically it is third argument if you see properly, because Python is going to execute it like student dot underscore init s1 comma Rahul and then 8, and this is what Python is going to pass. Now if you try s1 dot name, so this s1 dot name is basically attribute, and this s1 dot class is basically used class. I mean, yeah. So basically, this is also an attribute. Attribute is basically a variable which has some value stored in it. Okay. Now next one is okay. Next one is method. Instances method. So what are methods? Methods are basically functions. Okay. So let's try this one. Class student, and this is our like this. Self name, and we're going to use capital C for class. That is a lot easier for this. Self dot name equals to name, self dot class is equals to class. Okay, so it ended my code. Now we are going for df. Now we are going to define just like marks, and it is going to input a parameter. So before that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to like create empty dictionary self dot marks equals to, so this is empty dictionary. Okay, I should not make empty dictionary. I'm going to assign this like English. In starting, I'm going to pass it like this, Hindi and maths, and then let's say one more subject, science, and then social. Okay, now we are going to define a function. So we are going to define uh, update marks, and d marks. Basically, d marks is like marks in the found dictionary, and self dot marks is a dictionary. And what we are going to do, we are going to using update function. So don't be confused like how many dots are there. Basically, this is one single variable which I used earlier for dictionary. Now we have two objects like. So we are going to this cell dot marks is a dictionary, and we can apply dictionary on dictionary. We can apply update, and we are going for d marks and def retrieve d marks. Not d marks. Okay, I made one error. This is one most basic error I have done, like, so I also need to pass self here because this Python is not going to execute. Which one is it? Okay, now after this we also need to get the marks of this. Okay, so for getting marks we are going to use it like get marks. We are going to pass self because we need to get that, and for this we are going to print js1 dot dumps. I think dump we should use. Okay, now for this we are going to pass marks and indent equals to 2, and we are also going to import js1. Okay, now if we try s1 is equals to student, and is taking 3 argument, and s1 is itself first argument, so we are not going to take that again, and we have Rahul and then 8. Now if you try s1 dot get marks, okay, I have done one more mistake. So let's just wait 7. Now you can see it is not able to access inner's data without its self. So we need to use self dot marks. So basically it is going to access marks out of the range. Now if I try, let me redefine the student and s1 dot get underscore marks. I think we need to use dumps here, and after this ah, okay, it is like one by one kind of mistake. Okay, now it should work finally. So I'm just getting a function name error and self.marks error. That is the only mistake. I think now it should works. Okay. Okay, we have one more typo basically. Very sorry for that. S1 dot get underscore marks. So you can see we are getting marks of each and every student using this function. So basically, what is get underscore marks? Get underscore marks, basically it is a function which is used to get all the marks, and you can use this using print JSON atoms and pretty way to if you want to print. And let's try to update some marks. So we are going to like s1 dot update underscore marks, and self is itself and s1, and let's say if you want to update English. Does it have English? Yeah, English. Let's say give him 898. And if you again run this, you can see we have successfully updated our English marks. And using this method, you can create your own program. And this is a basically method. So this is one of the basic example. Here you can save it. Okay, we have to import JSON also for this. Import JSON. And after this, you can just create multiple students as not even students. You can even create a list of students. It's like students equals to list. Now we are going for like a student of 0 equals to, okay, so students of 0 equals to like, let's say if you have, let's say create a student of 11th. Okay. Okay, let's say we have a student equals to list of students, or we can use it like, yeah, let's say we have list Rahul, and it says what is it, age, what is second argument, it is class, so we are going not doing it. So I'm just taking string. I just want to create multiple objects, Rahul, Aman, and then Arya, and then Arman, Pranav, Aditya. Okay, and I'm going to throw all of them in class 8, class 12, let's say. Okay, so we can proceed it like, okay, we're going for like students, objects, students, object, no, student, objects. Okay, so we are going to like a student of name, comma, and for each and every one, I'm going to pass it as class is 12 for name in students. Okay, I can also use this code. Let me use this code here, and the student objects, you can use it like this. After that, students underscore object of, let's first try this. So you can see we got multiple of student. Okay, now we have on 0 index we have Rahul, so we are going for student object 0 dot name. So you can see get me Rahul, and if I try dot class, okay, it's capital because class is keyword, so we have made it capital of as a capital argument basically. And after this, let's try function. So we're going for get underscore marks. So you can see we are getting marks of Rahul. Now let's say I want to update marks of Rahul. Only Rahul is going to update marks. So let's say I'm passing dictionary English. Okay, English, and then let's say in English I got 78, and in math I got 34. Now if I try student 0 dot get marks, so you can see I got update, but here at the same time you can see the student 1 object does not get update, and even it has different name also. Okay, and different name, different class. So in this way you can create your own object. Okay, so now next one is, so that's all for this video basically these are those programs. Okay, now after this we have two more concepts, which is encapsulation and abstraction. So what are this? This is basically, it is like, let's say, what is it like, for encapsulation, if not like this, you can use it directly inside your class, like here, self dot underscore underscore fees is equals to, uh, let's say deposited, or we can make it like, okay, let's make it fees 1000. Just like, here's I'm taking one example only. I should not pass like this here. And okay, now if I try, so basically encapsulation is just like a cover which I'm not going to, I'm unable to access data. Suppose I've created a class and someone access this piece variable, which is basically attribute of this of a student of itself. So it is going to change to something any value. So in this way, it is create like I mean it creates like a you can edit anything. So we don't want to edit this. So here you can see we have created this, and if we try to access, let's run this program one more time. I don't know where it is. I'm rerunning this. So not this, like this. And also we need to pass the fees. Okay, now if I try the students, and also we have one more concept is abstraction. Abstraction is like something you can understand it like what do you say? Just like how the function is working, basically working a function. So basically it is again a one concept which is just not going to be in the code. It is like concept, just like how is it working. This you're going not going to tell each and every line of the function and that how's it working. So abstractions like hiding of this also. Now we have object, and if I try 0 dot name, I can access the name. You can see underscore piece is also same as like that, but if I try class, okay, class not like this. Class I can get, but if I try for piece underscore, so you can see it is no attribute, but we have defined here. We can see underscore. So what is this? What is this basically? Basically, it is encapsulation. We are protecting our data from the user to avoid this edited like something. So in this way, you can create this and you can create multiple object-oriented programming like this, and also use in modules to create more programs.